that actually was pretty good for the most part. I'm Joe Rentham with my review of AEW Dynamite, and don't worry, there were some things I did not like, but I'm interested to see where some feuds are going to go, especially with the Women's Championship. That's going to be a pretty interesting matchup. So, let's jump right on into it. Adam Page and John Silver of the Dark Order. The little, graphic there above, Adam Page's name. Page lost his phone 6 weeks ago, was too cheap to buy a new one. That's such a mood. I'm a bit of a cheapskate also. And I don't like the Dark Order gimmick. I don't. I've made that clear. John Silver can work. The others in the group can work. It's just that I hate the gimmick. This was not a bad match, honestly. Silver is pretty damn good in the ring, has some good power, Page dominating him at first, and then Silver taking over for a bit. It was a nice little match. It didn't go way too long. Were there a couple too many kickouts? Really, at this point, you can't complain too much about that because it's a widespread thing across every bit of wrestling, from New Japan to AEW to WWE, but it wasn't unbelievable. Silver took a lot from Page, he gave a lot back to him, and eventually the Buckshot Lariat, 1, 2, 3. This wasn't that bad, a pretty damn good opening match, and Page didn't come out with a drink in his hand. So that's a win-win right there. And then unfortunately, we have the Dark Order trying to recruit Adam Page. Just for the love of God, don't fucking do it. Just don't. The Dark Order are in a better position than they were at this time a year ago, but that's not saying much. Just don't fucking put Adam Page with him. Just don't do it. Have him clean himself up on his own and just have him go for Omega, when he wins the championship next week, because he's gonna win the fucking championship next week. If he doesn't, I'll be shocked. Just have Page win the championship sometime in August, the August pay-per-view. That way you build it up for a while. And then we have Marvez interviewing Kenny Omega. I'm going to say right now that Kenny Omega's matches with Okada and various matches that he had in New Japan, and even that 30-minute Iron Man match that he had with Pac, and the AEW Revolution tag match that he had with Page versus the Young Bucks, Omega can work. He's not my favorite. I don't think he's the best in the world, but he honestly can work, and when he wants to, he can put on a pretty damn good match. Even if Okada made him, Omega did carry his share there, especially in that, 2 out of 3 falls no time limit match at Dominion 2018. One of my favorite matches ever. It's hard not to love that match. That being said, this was one of the worst promos I've ever fucking heard on a mainstream wrestling broadcast from the alleged best wrestler in the world. This was garbage. You don't have to be the best promo to be the best wrestler in the world, but my God, this was such fucking shit. He said the more things change, the more they stay the same, about 5 million times. And then he said, well, leave the garbage wrestling at home. I mean, yeah, we've needed to not have the weapons and shit like that, and I hated their match at Full Gear last year. Now, I was in the minority. Other people loved it. I didn't, but that's okay. This was so fucking ridiculous. He said about, the childhood stuff, about, like Moxley talking about his childhood. I don't think your dad was that tough. In fact, I think my dad could beat up your dad. This is like, elementary school bullshit. It was like a bad play. It was a really bad script reading. Omega should not talk. Get him a goddamn manager. Just do something. He can come across like a douche, and there's nothing wrong with him coming across like a douche if they want to make him heel, but this was not good. This was not a good promo at all. I don't know how anybody could defend this. If you liked it, that's fine. I just didn't like it. Then we have Darby Allen around a burning car. I really don't know what Darby's on about, and I've talked to him at a few indie shows. Not at length, but he's a nice guy, and I mean, he seems a little weird, because, if you know his backstory, naturally he would be a little bit, reserved and keeping to himself, but why are they doing these weird things? I mean, it does set him apart, but it's just bizarre. We then have Powerhouse Hobbs, not Powerhouse Will Hobbs, just Powerhouse Hobbs, versus Lee Johnson. Taz joins commentary. The super sweetened crowd noise was absolutely ridiculous. Now, this was a taped show, and they're going to be taping other shows, I believe, sometime around Christmas, which actually is probably a pretty damn good idea. Huge front slam, like World's Strongest Slam for 3. Okay, nice idea. And then have him, use the Oklahoma Stampede as his finisher, down the road. And then Taz gets down to the ring and talks about the FTW Championship. Said, Hobbs, go party with Starks and Cage. Make sure Cage doesn't, distract himself with a shiny object, basically. That's just what I would be saying. But Cage really seems like he needs 24/7 care, because he doesn't seem like he knows what the fuck he's doing. He certainly doesn't know what the fuck he's saying in promos, as we'll find out a little bit later. And then Taz says that he wants the FTW championship to be recognized because it has such a legacy behind it. Taz, it was a bullshit championship because you were feuding with Shane Douglas, and Shane Douglas was injured, and they were building up this whole thing, between you and Shane Douglas to an ECW championship match. I believe it Guilty as Charged 99, and it wasn't a very good match. I mean, and it couldn't have been with all the hype they put behind it. But then he will raise hell if it's not recognized as legit. He just wants to know why his mics keep getting cut off. Oh, he's so goddamn pissed. Here's Cody. And it's hyped for the tag match next week. Cody and Darby against Powerhouse Hobbs and Ricky Starks. I'm just going to call him Will Hobbs. That's just what I'm going to do. It's like House Hobbs. It's like House Party. No, hopefully it's not like House Party. Hopefully he doesn't shape his head or his hair like the guy from House Party. If you know what I'm talking about, enjoy that crazy, bullshit reference. This was not good, and I understand what they were trying to do. Cody and Taz were trying to do the shoot thing, but Taz was messing up a few of his lines, which that happens. Whether you're taped, whether you're in front of a live crowd, you can mess stuff up. That happens. I get it. Also, the super squeaking crowd noise is just fucking annoying. It's fucking annoying on WWE television as well. It's worse there. But Cody then says he throws a jab, personal issues draw money. Well, your son's trained to be a wrestler. Well, why is your son not training with you and he's training with me? And then Taz gets all upset and everything. His son is named Hook. Cool. Does he have a sister named Rufio? Does he have a dog named Rufio? Does he have a dog that, that has a freaking clock hanging around him? Is there a gator chasing after him? Why? Why would you name him Hook? Oh, because he's from Red Hook? Yeah, we fucking get that's stupid. I hope it's not a legit name, because you shouldn't name your kids fucking names like that. And then he does the Taz mission and then gets run off by the guns, coming from the crowd. And then suddenly his son is there. His son hey, if his son's trained to be a wrestler and he can be pretty good, that's fine. I hope his son has more of a neck than his dad did. This didn't work for me. I understand what they were trying to do. There were elements of a fine segment here, but Taz can't take any bumps, so he's not going to get any repercussions. His team will, but Taz can't take any bumps. I don't want him to be paralyzed. Anyway, here's Eddie Kingston to talk about, Dark Triangle, Death Triangle, Dark Triangle, whatever. Penta, Pac, and Phoenix. And then here's Moxley. And Eddie says, it wasn't me. I'd do it straight up if I was the one that attacked you, because Moxley was laid out last week. Top Flight versus TH2. Look, Evanson and Helico are fine athletes. I don't care about them as a team. Top Flight, they're young. They're upcoming. They're going to need a few years of a lot of seasoning, but they had a good showing against the Bucks. This wasn't bad. This was very awkward, though. There were some dives. There was a code red for 2. And eventually a heel hook from Angelico gets the tap out. Fine. Then they continue to beat down. The Bucks come here to try and, act all tough. That was adorable. And then Nyla and Vicky are talking backstage. Well, Vicky's talking about Jade's attack on Brandy and that all the women are on notice and this kind of stuff. And Vicky's basically doing the same bullshit that she did for a number of years. Only now she's just there. She doesn't really add anything to Nyla. Nyla has not really benefited from having Vicky Guerrero as her manager, because Nyla can talk. They could just have Nyla cut her own promos. And then we get an FTR package. How the match with the Bucks at, Full Gear was one of the worst nights of their lives. They are destined to be the AEW Tag Team Champions. They need to be the Tag Team Champions. Totally says Fear the Revolution. Basically, they want a rematch, and they're going to get that. SCU versus Jericho and Hager. The Inner Circle are around ringside, including MJF. Let me just say right now that Jericho's totally fucking washed and needs to stay out of the goddamn ring. He needs to not wrestle anymore. He is fucking washed. He's a has-been. He can't do anything anymore. And I'm just focusing on the in-ring character. I'm not going to focus on the outside guy. As far as his work in AEW in 2020, it has been a steep decline, of complete shit. Also, Hager does have one advantage. He's so bland that people confuse him with a ring post, so when he hits somebody, they're like, why'd this ring post hit me? He's just so fucking bland and so fucking uninteresting. Kazarian and Daniels did what they could to carry this match, but it just wasn't good. Dynamite Diamond Battle Royal next week, where MJF's going to defend that ring that he won. I think MJF's going to win, and I think he should, honestly, because it's a good gimmick to have. Inner Circle attack behind the referee's back. We get a ring shot to Daniels later. Juice effect 1, 2, 3. SCU gets beaten up afterwards. And after Kazarian clocks MJF, and they treat it as legit. I mean, maybe it was. Maybe he did clock him really good. And then Scorpio Sky runs down with a chair, and everybody bails. Now, Scorpio Sky is a really good athlete. And yes, you wouldn't want to get hit with a chair, but it's 7-on-3 at that point, and 2 of the guys are down. Kind of makes the Inner Circle look dumb. Makes Sky look like, oh shit, Sky's here with a chair. We need to run off. If there was one other guy, okay, cool, you got two people swinging a chair, but I don't know. That was a little bit weird. We then get Miro, Kip, and Penelope video game extravaganza, and it's interrupted by Orange Cassidy shutting off the Xbox, whatever Xbox it is. I don't know. I'm not a gamer, at least a current gen gamer, as the kids say. And then the best friends interrupt, and everybody just does a battle outside. And why is this feud happening? This feud is fucking stupid. It would be stupid in WWE. This is dumb. Miro has not been used all that well. If he's happy with how he's being used, great. And then we get Omega's intro being ridiculous. You have two inanimate objects holding brooms. Look, I'm sure that those women are nice, but if they're just going to be there to just look like unfinished real dolls holding brooms, why are they there? Oh, he's the cleaner. He's this. I will say that I do understand what they're trying to do with Omega's intro. They're making him seem more like an anime nerd and a video game nerd. Not that there's anything wrong with that. If that's what you get into, that is totally fine. But he's not considered like a badass heel here. Now, he's considered a douchey heel, and he does pull that off pretty well. And then Moxley attacks him during his entrance with the whole, graphic back there, or like the sheet or whatever. He steps through, beats the shit out of him, paradigm shift on the title, then runs him down. Take your shot, Kenny, because you're only going to get one. Talks about loving this shit, all this. Winter is coming next week. That's the title of AEW Dynamite. Winter is coming. And then, yeah, okay, so it was fine. It was actually not that bad. And actually, he shakes Tony Schiavone's hand. That was pretty nice. And then we get the Inner Circle. Jericho versus Kazarian next week. Now, Jericho was trying to be serious, talking about MJF's injured jaw and all that stuff. If Jericho hadn't been assing off and doing a whole bunch of bullshit comedy for the last number of months, Stadium Stampede was where I just gave up on Jericho. I didn't mind the drone stuff with Matt Hardy, but when they did the Stadium Stampede, which some people liked, I didn't. I was not, I just gave up on Jericho. And the Orange Cassidy feud and a whole bunch of other stuff. And the fact that Jericho is just fucking washed. He is basically torpedoing his legacy, slamming torpedoes into the goddamn hole, and that ship is sinking fast. But he talks about facing Kazarian to get revenge for MJF for what he did. We get a Shida Anna Jay package talking about how Anna Jay faced Hikaru Shida in one of her first matches, I believe her first match in AEW. And Shida's English has improved quite a bit. Tai Conte English is still a little bit dodgy with her, but she does mean what she says, and English is a tough language for anybody to learn as a second language. And Tai has some ability. Her and Anna Jay are good friends. And it's Shida versus Anna Jay with Tai Conte, Women's Championship. Dark Order's on the stage. It wasn't bad. Anna does target Hikaru Shida's knee because Shida's knee got injured by Nyla Rose during their match at Full Gear. Referee distraction. We get kendo stick to the knee. We get a sleeper, but Shida manages to get out of that. We eventually get a knee strike for 3. Tai Conte tried to use a chair at one point, but oh no, can't do that because the referee saw it. And then, so Shida retains, and so that's all done. They all bail, and Shida's on the stage, and suddenly Abaddon's music hits. Now, Abaddon apparently got injured in a match on Dark at some point, and they just couldn't air it, and that's why she hasn't been on for a while. She's been active on social media and posting, but she hasn't been wrestling, apparently, and thankfully she seems to have recovered from whatever her injury is. She scares Shida, licks the championship, and okay, I'm down for it. Have Abaddon beat Shida. You want to create a new star? There you fucking go. Nothing against Anna Jay. You get her away from the goddamn Dark Order, and I'll actually want to see her as champion. But I don't want to see the Dark Order hold championships because I'm fucking sick of that gimmick because it's stupid. Anyway, we get iconic Matt Hardy. I don't know why he's there. I don't mind Matt Hardy. If he's going to not be the stupid, broken one, that's fine, but whatever. Stark says, you have crossed the line, Cody. Ricky Starks is a goddamn star and carried this. I don't know why Cage felt the need to talk. Butcher and the Blade with Eddie on commentary, and the Bunny. Allie is very distracting at ringside, I will say that much, versus Pac and Phoenix with Pentagon Jr. Penta L0M, I'm just going to call him Pentagon Jr. Look, it was a mess. There was attack on the stage. It was just craziness all over. Dies. We get a lot of we get Eddie and Tony arguing. We get some good stuff here, don't get me wrong. Phoenix gets just stopped when he jumps off the ropes because Butcher's just like, oh, he's going to run short. I'll just step in here and just pretend to stop him. The mask clasp gets busted, and Pac does land badly on a slam and also has a bad bruise, mark on his leg. Hopefully he's all right. Eddie does trip Phoenix later. We get a snap bomb variation, 1, 2, 3. We get a beatdown with a chair. DDT on said chair to Pac from Eddie. And then here's Archer, because Archer has said on Dark that he is going to come after Eddie Kingston's family about the whole thing about not being eliminated from the Battle Royal that Eddie kept saying for a while. And yeah, there we go. That was pretty much it right there. Archer maybe teaming with Death Triangle. Hey, everybody dies. Why not? I can't say that I loved everything on the show, but overall it certainly wasn't that bad. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ritlin. I'll see you soon.